Okay, so as you can see from the title of this video, your girl is back on booktube. It's been a long 7 months, a long time, and I've been telling y'all I'm coming back, and I never came back. I am back, and I have a lot to talk to y'all about, to catch you up on. So much has changed since I last posted a video. But before I say anything, before I go any further, I feel like I need to say a huge thank you, because there are several of you who have been like still talking to me on Instagram, like on this whole hiatus I've been taking. Y'all have been checking in and talking about books still with me, and it's been so nice. And if you're someone who was here when I first started on booktube and you're watching this video right now, it makes me very emotional, because I cannot believe you stuck around through that long hiatus. Like, I mean, that's, y'all are real ones for that. So pat yourself on the backs, please, because that is very big of you to do. So thank you. So for those of you who may be new here, this is indeed Bounded and Bookmarked. My name is Jaleesa, and I took a 7-month hiatus, and here's why. Many of you have watched some of my vlogs, especially of the vlogs of me like being productive. Well, a lot of those productivity vlogs were of me getting prepped for like interviews, because I was trying to become an intern for book publishing. A lot of y'all know that my love for reading translated into a career. So yeah, I set out to become an intern, and I did. I got my internship in subwrites. I worked at Hachette as an intern for an entire year. It was an experience. I learned a lot about myself as a professional, also like my goals moving forward, like what I wanted to do in the industry and where I wanted to work. And so y'all know I was going to school. I was getting my master's. I graduated. Woo! Yeah, that was one of the big reasons why I was gone for so long on YouTube, because I had to put the pedal to the metal. The girl had to grind it out, and I finished my master's. So I graduated back in, well, technically December, but I finished in August of 2022. So I am done with school. I'm never going back. Like, I am never going back to school. So yeah, no. So I turned 26 in the summer. I also graduated in the summer, and I looked for jobs in the summer while I was still interning. And I had several interviews at different publishing companies. Lots of them didn't work out for different reasons, but there was one in particular that did. So I now work at Penguin Random House as a publicity assistant. I've been working here for about like 6 months now. That is a big reason why I had not been recording, because I had no time. I was acclimating to a new job, totally new department, a new company. So it was just a lot of new things happening in my life. Now it's time for the fun stuff, the books. Let's talk about the books that I've read since I last spoke to all of you. The first one being Zyla and Kai by Christina Forrest. You all know that I adore Christina Forrest's writing. I think it's just perfect for the age group it's intended for. You know, it's not young in the sense of like it's childish, but it's young in the sense of like it's youthful, and it still exposes the hardships teenagers kind of deal with. So this book follows the two characters, Zyla and Kai, and they are both working at this amusement park one summer. It's how they meet. The beginning of the story, it actually starts off with like the two of them being together at this mountain. I don't know what to call it, like a mountain range, not mountain range, but like it's a trip to the mountains, basically is what I'm trying to say. A trip to the mountains. Their two schools come together. So during this trip in the mountains, Zyla and Kai end up running away together. Like, they don't tell their friends, they don't tell any adults. No one knows where they are. It's this terrible storm out, and people are very concerned about them and very worried, because there were some things that happened right before they ran off together that people saw and witnessed, but they don't know exactly what was going on or like the conversation that they were having. So imagine that as an opening scene, and then it goes into how they meet and like their love story. And I think what I loved about this book was that you had two characters who just had two different views of love. Kai is like myself, a hopeless romantic. You know, he believes in love. He wants to experience it for himself. Whereas Zyla, she's a bit different. She is a cynic when it comes to love. She just doesn't believe that it really ever truly works, and that there's like true love out there and someone out there for you. It sounds very surface level when you say it, like when I say it like that. But what I appreciate about Christina's portrayal of these characters is that their thoughts and their views on love come directly from their experiences in their homes. Kai saw his parents together, and he saw love between the two of them. Zyla didn't have that same kind of upbringing, so her idea of what love means just looks very different based on her family. So, you know, I think that's a very real experience for anybody. Like, you know, we grow up as adults and we realize a lot of our thought processes, you know, what we believe to be true about anything, a lot of it is heavily influenced by what we saw as kids. So thank you, Christina. So the next book that I read this book about 7 months ago too, is The Davenports by Crystal Marquise. The Davenports was so good, and a lot of y'all know me. Y'all know I am not a historical romance girly, because I do not like period pieces. I don't like to watch it. I don't like to read it. I seriously have like this adverse reaction to like period pieces. Don't ask me why, because I don't know why. The Davenports, I want more of it, and I can't wait for the next book. But a lot of people lately have been talking about like, you know, wanting to see Black people in period pieces. Basically like, you know, seeing a black version of Bridgerton. That's the Davenport. It follows this Davenport family, their 2 daughters, and then their daughter's friend and their maid. They are wealthy, they're of high class, they're very respected, and this book gives you all the drama that you will ever need in a good romance that takes place in like the early 1900s in like the ancient times, okay? The 4 women that are in this book, Helen, Olivia, Rose, and Ruby, the 4 of them all have love interests in this book. Unfortunately, there are several things keeping them from experiencing that love successfully with those people. The dynamics in this book, I think, are just so complex because you literally have 4 women, 4 different lives, 4 different love stories all being played out in the same book. And I think that can be a very difficult thing to pull off successfully in a book. Like if you have these different storylines, but you still have to connect them all together. But what I love the most is that each person in this book, they fall in love with someone, but also with something, meaning they fall in love with their purpose. They figure out who they want to be and what they want to do and what impact they want to have on the world. But you can taste the wealth. When I read this book, I felt rich. I was like, oh my gosh, I have moolah. I got the monies, honey. Like that's how I felt reading this book. And I do not have the monies, honey. But Crystal made me feel like I was rich. Okay. I felt like I was a Davenport. And I was like, I love this. So I think the book was just really stellar. So if you're looking for like a Bridgerton-esque book, but make it black, the Davenports. Okay. The next book that I read that I did talk about a lot on my channel is Amari and the Great Game. I got the arc for this book in October. It is February. Okay, so I should have been finished this book. But like I said, life got in the way and I never got the chance to really read it. I read this book last week. I flew through it. I gave it 5 stars. I would give it 6 if I could. I can't. I love this world. I love this story. I love Amari. Let me just back up because I can sit here and gush and not tell y'all a single thing that makes sense. So the first book in this series, Amari and the Night Brothers, which I read back in 2021. I don't remember anymore. What is time? It follows, you all know, Amari. Yes, that's an inside joke for us who've been here for a while together. But it follows Amari, a 12-year-old girl whose brother goes missing. His name is Quentin. She, is concerned. She's looking for him. No one seems to know where he is. He just vanished. And one day she finds this briefcase in his closet in her house and she opens it and it's actually an invitation to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs. And this bureau is like this school basically for supernatural kids. And they go there and they basically take like this test, this like crystal ball. And you put your hand on it and it tells you like what your magical ability is. If, for example, if you're somebody who is fast, maybe you're an athlete, your ability will be like super speed. Or like say you're a good listener, then you'll have like, you can hear sounds of like different frequencies that no one else could hear, like the human ear could never hear. Like I made that up. But anyway, my little Amari, she's special. She has these powers, okay? But while she's there, she finds out that there are some secrets lingering around this bureau. And so there is some like conflict between her and her best friend Nick, who also is at this school, who's also very powerful. Can't say too much about the ending. I have a vlog. I'll link at the top. So if you want to watch it, the book's amazing. You should just read it actually. Don't even watch the vlog. No, watch it, but read the book too. One of my favorite things about this book that I talked about a lot in that vlog and just in general, like on live streams and stuff and online, is the world B.B. Austin created is just so original. I mean, you can tell like inspiration from certain places in different movies, but he took some of the best pieces of like some of our favorite childhood shows and movies and like pastimes and put it into one world. It doesn't feel like anything that's been done before. And I think I just love the creativity that was just poured onto these pages and didn't stop in book 2. Amari and the Great Game was just as good. Things get a little bit more intense in the second book. So for those of you who haven't read it yet, I will try to keep it as non-spoilery as possible. But this book follows Amari and her past conflict with her ex-friend and partner, Nick. There's this great game that she and Nick have to compete against to win this one specific thing, or else a war could break out. I hope that wasn't spoilery. I feel like it wasn't. In this book though, really Amari's trying to keep a war from happening and the girl she really goes through it in this book. And I think what I appreciate too, with every experience Amari has, and even like her friend in this book, Elsie, and even like Nick's sister, Laura, they all go through different things in different moments in this second book especially that makes them feel like an outcast. And at the end of the day, what I think that a kid would learn or should get from this book is that, one, reading's fun, but also that you should just be kind to people around you. People, especially kids, just want to be understood and they want to be heard and they want to be loved. This series is my baby. So now that I've gotten out of the way of what I've read recently, let's talk about what I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading 2 books. I'm reading this book called Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering. It has a TV show on Hulu. I don't know if any of you watched it or not. That's actually how I found out about the book. But y'all know me, I'm like a sucker for watching a show and reading a book that the show is based off of. And I'm just really curious to see how the story ends because I don't know that the show will get another season. So this book follows Lucy. I don't even even know what school she goes to, but she goes off to college. And when she's there, she meets this guy, Steven. They like have this whirlwind romance. Steven's older. I think he's like a junior when she meets him, or maybe a sophomore. I don't know. And she meets Steven and her whole life becomes all about him. I mean, everything she does revolves around him. And, you know, I think the reason why it's hard to read this book is because it's like, there are people like this for sure in the world. But it's just the fact that it was written in a way that felt like it was trying to glorify this idea of bending over backwards for a man who treats you like dog crap. And Steven is awful. He's manipulative. He's a liar. I mean, genuinely, it just follows Lucy and Steven, like nothing else. The story starts off with like how they met and like their romance, but it goes back between like past and present. So like past is like when they met, the present is one guy from Steven's friend group and then one of Lucy's friends, they end up getting married. So they're meeting back up again first time after like X amount of years after they graduated college. And Lucy hadn't seen Steven since this big blow up. I don't know what happened, but this big old breakup, blow up, whatever. We see the relationship. We see how it starts off, the highs and the so many lows. And then we get to see them in the present moment and we get to see kind of like Lucy's thoughts about, you know, how she's feeling about seeing Steven for the first time. So yeah, I mean, for lack of better words, I hate it. Why am I finishing it? I'm finishing it only because of the show. I don't know if it'll get another season and I do want to know what happened. So, you know, there is that kind of mystery factor. So like that's the only thing that's keeping my attention and making me want to finish the book. I just happened to read it, so I would not recommend it as a hate read either. And then the book I'm currently reading right now, I'm loving it. It's called The Nanny and it's by Alana Ferguson and it is so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So The Nanny follows this woman, Cassie. So Cassie has an OnlyFans, which she more recently shut down because of a certain incident. I don't know what happened, but I'm thinking something traumatic happened that made her want to shut down her OnlyFans. So she's in college and she needs a job. She happens to find an advertisement for a nanny position, a live-in nanny, and she goes to the interview and it's this like super hot like chef, you know, he has a daughter, she's 9, she gets the job. But here's the kicker. She has like one guy who follows her on OnlyFans that still like pays her for things like for private shows and stuff. Lo and behold, it is the chef who just hired her. It's like, it's funny. I mean, it's actually funny. Like, and their chemistry is so cute, even like not knowing who they are to each other just yet. Their relationship is like slowly building and it's like really natural and it feels really like authentic, which is cool. Because sometimes, let's be real, romance is rushed through everything. But I feel like this one is just being crafted like ever so slowly. It's definitely got that build up, which I usually hate. So I guess you can call that slow burn. But it's so satisfying because each chapter ends with kind of sexy moment between like them on OnlyFans. It's really good so far. I think it comes out in April. So I'm loving it. And I needed this because I needed to get back into reading, but I needed something that's going to draw me in. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to lately. For one, thank you all for just coming back. I know it's going to be like a slow transition getting back onto booktube, but I'm here to stay. Thank y'all for watching and I will see y'all next time. Your girl's over and out.